If you are struggling, and I mean, if you are having a tough time finding a new job, if it's taken you what seems forever, well, this video is for you because in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you nine tips to help you get a job when you are over 50 years old. Before I do, though, I just want to mention that this video is sponsored by Career Fitter. I want to thank Career Fitter because they are a big supporter of Over 50 TV. And I like Career Fitter because they produce a career aptitude test that I think is among the very best career aptitude tests. They have a free version, a paid version. The big benefit of using a career aptitude test is they can help steer you to a career that better fits your skills, your personality, and your interests, and of course, your experience. So let's get to our video. Let's talk about the tips that can help you to get a job when you are over 50. Before I give you that tip, though, those 9 tips, I want to give you really one of what I consider one of the biggest tips that I could share with you today. And I happen to be looking at a T-shirt for my fiance Dawn, and the T-shirt said something that I think is the most important tip that I can give you, in addition to the 9. But I think this is important. It may not come out the way I'd like it to. It may be backwards like a mirror here, but it says the will must be stronger than the skill. And this is a quote from Muhammad Ali. And I got to say that I agree 100%. If you're looking for a job, yeah, you've got the skills. We know you've got the skills. You've got the experience. You've got the knowledge. Unfortunately, not every employer will see it. What they're going to do is they'll look at you, and maybe what they're looking at is looking at your gray hair, or maybe they're looking at you and saying, hey, this person's 50 years old or a little bit older. And you know what? I want somebody younger. But you've got the skills. You've got the experience. As I said, you've got the knowledge. What you got to have is what Muhammad Ali says. You've got to have the will. You've got to have the will to get that job. So let's move on here. What I want to do is I'm in what I guess you would just call kind of like, I don't know, seminar mode with this program. It's a new program that I'm using, and I like it because it enables me, or allows me rather, to use some of the slides that I think are really valuable. So what I'm going to do is let's talk about the nine tips, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up the first summary here. It says 9 tips for getting hired after age 50. And number 1, immediately begin your job search. Number 2, leverage your contacts. Number 3, practice your story. Number 4, create the ideal resume. Number 5, clean up your social media accounts. That's critical. Number, what is that? 6, put them at ease. Don't mention your age or theirs. That's important too. It says demonstrate tech savviness and ask for the job. So these are my 9 tips, and I'm going to go ahead and elaborate, talk a little bit more about each of the 9 tips. Follow this closely, my friends, because I really believe that these tips are important. They're relevant. And they can help you if you're somebody who's over 50. And again, you're trying to get hired and you want to find a job that's just perfect for you. So let's get to the slide number 1. Immediately begin your job search. And I wrote this out here for you because it's important. The longer a person is unemployed, the lower their chances of getting an interview. We know this. It's true. You can Google any fact, any statistic, and it says the same thing. The longer you're out, the harder it is to get a job. So you want to go right away. You want to immediately begin your job search. And it says here the average length of unemployment for job seekers age 55 to 64 was 20.9 weeks. So get on that job search right away. It says compared with an average of 17.5 weeks of unemployment among all workers. Now, this is according to AARP, their Public Policy Institute. It says right here, analysis of Bureau of Labor Statistics data. Your prospects are better if you begin your job search immediately. So maybe you take off a few days, maybe you take off a week. For me, if I'm hungry and I'm looking for a job and I've got the will, I'm looking for a job right away. Now, let's go to the slide number 2. It says leverage your contacts. This is important. I can't think of something that's more important than going ahead and talking to people that you know, asking them to help you to find a job. Now, so maybe you've got somebody who's at a company, you know someone who's at a company that you want to work at. Talk to that person. It says here, having contacts at that company you are applying at is one of the best ways to find out about openings and getting hired. When an employee refers someone, the candidate is hired about two-thirds of the time. And certainly this is true. If somebody comes to me at one of my companies and they say, one of my employees, and they say, hey, Lou, I've got this great candidate, somebody who works hard, somebody who shows up every day, somebody who gives 100%. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call him in. I'm going to ask him to come in. I'm going to talk to him because if I'm looking for somebody like that who has those qualities, who has the will, the determination, when they come into work, they're going to do a good job for me. I want to bring them in. So leverage your context. It's important. Let's go to the next one here. Practice your story. This is something that I recommend for every single one of you out there. And I've got salespeople over the years. I've had lots and lots of salespeople. And I ask them, I demand really that they give me the pitch, man. They give me their pitch, how they're going to present my product or products, how they're going to talk to that client, and really persuade them that the benefits of that product are overwhelming. And that's what you want to do. You want to practice your story. You want to let the person that you're interviewing with know that the reason they should hire you, the benefit of hiring you is overwhelming. Practice succinctly describing your current position, your work history, and your career goals. Those are things important you want to tell someone. Mention how you keep your skills current by taking classes, attending seminars and workshops, and also describe relevant books you read. If I'm hiring someone who's a bit older or even a bit younger, I want to know that they are investing in themselves and they want to keep those skills sharp. So practice that. Practice the answer. Practice letting them know about you, that you're sharpening your skills. You're keeping them sharp. You're working hard. It says, be prepared to give at least one example of how you successfully solved a work-related problem or how your actions contributed to growth at that company, at your company. And I think this is also important, again, when someone's sitting down with me, or maybe they're sitting down with you. Maybe you've been in a position to hire someone, and if they come in and they are succinct, they're not wasting your time. They're just getting right to the point. So they're succinct. They're describing their story. And then what they're doing is they're letting you know how they're sharpening their skills. And they're also letting you know by example what they've done at that company that they worked at to make that company more successful. So that's another important. Practice your story, please. Now let's get to the next one here. Create the ideal resume. This is very important, of course, because a resume is often and more than likely going to be the first time that employer has heard about you, unless, of course, you got a referral and your person who's referring you really built you up. But the resume's got to build you up as well. The ideal resume, according to Coursera.org, is as short as possible while including all your relevant accomplishments, skills, and experience. Don't include every job you held in the last 20 years. Please don't do that because most of those jobs are not relevant. Highlight your recent achievements and the new skills that you've acquired. And again, you're always sharpening your skills. And I put this down. It's just good practice to go back no more than 10 years as those positions I just said as those positions are usually the most relevant. The least relevant are those positions back 15, 20 years ago. Nobody cares about that. They're not relevant. Let's go to the next one here. Clean up your social media accounts. Hiring managers are looking at your social media just as thoroughly as your resume or cover letter. This is according to the USA Today, and I know this as a fact because I've seen hiring managers looking at social media accounts, and I've actually seen a hiring manager or two rolling their eyes when they're looking and they're saying, what is this person thinking? What are they putting this stuff up for? It just shows that you're not thinking, you're not, you don't have the experience. So no, you want to make sure you clean up those social media accounts, clear up your embarrassing social media posts, get rid of them. It's important. And I know folks, again, who haven't done it, and you know what? They don't get the job. So let's go to the next one here. Next point, put them at ease. More often than not, you are going to be sitting down with a hiring manager who's younger than you, a manager who's going to be looking at you, thinking about your age. And here's what I wrote here. The person making the hiring decision may be younger than you, and that is most of the time, as we know. And they may be insecure, and that's most of the time, as we know. So during this interview process, let he or she know you expect to take direction from them, and you can do that fairly easily when you're discussing with them what the position is about, what you want to be doing, what they're going to be telling you to do. Also, let he or she know you are flexible and cooperative. Emphasize that you're a team player and that you're eager to learn from them. And this is a tip that I think it kind of goes without saying, but there are a lot of people that need to be told. Because when you're sitting down with somebody and they are younger than you and they are looking at you, and could they be thinking, as I wrote down here in the second paragraph, could they be thinking that, that, hey, this is a potential competitor for my job? So put them at ease. Let them know that you're there, you're eager to learn from them, and you're eager to get started, and you value their experience and you value their guidance. That's a very important point here, my friends. Next, let's go to don't mention your age or theirs. Please don't do that. During the interview process, never make any reference to your age or the hiring manager's age. This does highlight the disparity. And I wrote, particularly if the hiring manager is much younger than yourself. So if you happen to mention your age, and it could come out, it's obvious, but you don't have to put a magnifying glass on it and basically put emphasis on it. No, just when you're talking, talk about the job, talk about your relevant experience, talk about your skills, ask a lot of questions, but never refer to your age. And I put down here, stay away from mentioning work history that happened more than 10 years ago. How many times have I sat with someone in an interview, and it could go both ways. An older person might say, well, 20 years ago we didn't have the internet. Or you could be, and I've done this, I've interviewed younger folks, younger people, basically kids, and they say, yeah, I was when I was in just got out of college, last year we were just partying all the time. And believe me, people will tell you, I was just partying all the time, but I'm serious now. Well, you know what? I don't want to hear that. Number one, I don't want to hear about your partying. Number two, now you're serious, but you weren't a couple weeks ago, a year ago. No, don't mention your age. Don't mention theirs. Now let's go to the next one. Demonstrate tech savviness. Top sentence is so important, so critical. Workers over 50 are often perceived as being uncomfortable with technology. You've heard it. I've heard it so many times. So many times we hear something like this, and you know what? Sometimes it's true. Let's acknowledge it. Yeah, sometimes it's true, but more and more we are sitting down working on programs that, you know what? They're not the easiest to learn, but we've learned them, we've mastered them, and we're very, very proficient. So, demonstrate your tech savviness. And I said here during your interview, show that you are tech savvy by subtly weaving in examples of industry specific software you use or pertinent software you're learning. Yeah, you could easily say that to someone. You can easily weave that into your conversation. And your resume should include your LinkedIn URL, and you should list the software you are fluent in, including basic programs. And hey, I want to know that you know Word. I want to know that you know Excel. Sometimes it's applicable, sometimes it's not. But weave it in, and let them know that you are tech savvy. Now, this is the last one. And this one I think is extremely important. About as important as having the will that Muhammad Ali mentioned. Ask for the job. Ask for that job at the end of the interview. And Wayne Gretzky is one of the greatest players in NHL history. He said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Every interview you go on, 100% at the end, ask for the position. Of course, you're going to lead up to that. What are the next steps in your process, Mr. HR, Mrs. HR hiring manager? What's the next steps in your hiring process? And what I'm going to say is, just based on how you've described this position, Mrs. HR person or Miss HR person, I believe my skills align perfectly for this position. And I welcome the opportunity to work for you at this company. And I'd like to know, am I getting hired? flat out ask for it. I'm an old salesperson, or I should say a young salesperson, because I consider myself young, but I'm a salesperson. I'm going to ask. I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to be blunt. You know what? If you don't, and it says here, in other words, you can't succeed unless you try, and that means you must act, and you must act. Ask them for the position. How much time do you want to waste? It doesn't hurt to ask, so you act. At the end of the interview, you're just simply asking for that job, and that's what you're going to do. So these are my 9 tips. I'm going to go back to the larger screen here to show you. But you know what? If you got any questions, if you got any comments whatsoever, please give me send me an email, make a comment in the comment box here. I do have a link to the Career Fitter Career Aptitude Test. That link is in the description box. Check it out. It'll help you for sure. But these 9 tips are important. Certainly there are other points that can help you, but these are the nine that I feel that you must use. You must use when you're out there looking for a job. But I go back to having that will. You've got to have the will, and then you've got to get started immediately. Don't wait. Don't wait till your money's running low, or you've got some pressure from a spouse, or maybe from a bill collector. Don't wait. It's going to take you some time. It takes all of us time. Whether you're younger or older, it takes time. So get out there, hustle, act. Well, that's all I got for you, my friends. If you do have any questions, as I said, give me I almost said give me a call. You could do that. Of course, you can always do that. But send me an email. Make a comment in the comment section. Look forward to talking to you again. Have a great day, everybody.